This short video will explain how to use Lightroom Classic's print utility to create files suitable to send to SimLabs for printing. So you can see there are a number of images that need printing. Select the Print tab within Lightroom Classic. The first thing you need to do is to scroll back down to the bottom of the settings and you'll find the print settings. By default, it might be set to printer. You just need to change it to print to a JPEG file. The print sharpening, I've always set it at standard. I've never compared the other settings. I select glossy for printing. Glossy or satin prints, again not tested to see if selecting matte makes a difference. Set the JPEG quality to 100% and the file resolution to 300. Next you need to set the custom file size. As you can see, SimLabs have an extensive range of print sizes. For this demonstration we will use A3. You need to go down to the custom file size and set it to A3, which is 420 mm by 297 mm. Now you could just order an A3 borderless print, with the image filling the paper, but it's likely that your image will not be that ratio. Plus, you will need some extra bleed around the print for mounting. If you scroll further down the settings, you will see color management. Set this to perpetual and the profile to sRGB. You also have a print adjustment setting, which allows you to alter the brightness or the contrast of a print if it doesn't match what's on the screen. You shouldn't need to use this if your monitor is calibrated correctly. Next, we need to scroll up and make sure the margins are set to 0. The white area on the screen is your A3 paper. The cell size shown as a black box represents the image area that will be on the A3 print. Now set the cell size to the size you want the actual image to be on the print. Either use the slider to adjust the size of the image. It may be better to enter the size so that it matches the size of the aperture on your mount, allowing a bit extra bleed for mounting. On this occasion, 280 mm by 400 mm has been used. Select the image you want to print. There are a couple of other tick boxes you need to set at the top of the settings. Zoom to fit will mean that the image, whatever size it is, will fill the cell size that you have set. Picking a different image, you can see that fits better. If the ratio of the image is slightly out, you can move the image around the cell size you have set. The other setting that needs to be selected is Rotate to fit. If the aperture you've created doesn't fit the crop on your image, you can manually move the sliders to get the exact area that you want to print. Or you can type it in manually. The other setting is stroke border. This puts a fine line around the image. I use this to create a black key line around the image and set the image slightly smaller than the mount window and use card that has a black core, as you can see in this photo. Next, you create a template so you can use the settings you have just created. The way you do this, you open up the template browser. There are several default templates useful for creating contact sheets and multiple images on one print. User templates are for saving your own. Click on the plus and create a folder. The first folder is for SimLabs A3 prints. You can create as many folders with as many templates in them. Then create a template, calling it 280mm by 400mm or whatever you want. This will save the settings you have just set up. Now, if you want to create a square print, you alter the cell size. On this occasion, we'll set it to 280mm by 280mm. This will give you a square window for your image to fit in. You could, in theory, move this image around to get the framing you want. You don't need to have edited your image to a square format. We now have a square picture fitting on the cell. Now go to the template browser and click the plus. Create a new template, for example called 280mm by 280mm. This new template will again save whatever settings you've currently got it set at, although you can alter them later, which I'll show you shortly. Here's another picture which is quite a long and narrow. Alter the cell size either using the sliders or typing in a value for a panoramic letterbox image. Typing it in the size can be easier to create prints the right size to fit mounts. Create a new template. This time it is called 220 by 400mm. We now have 3 templates that tell you the exact size of the image on an A3 print. Now when it comes to printing, select the image and template you want to print. Select Print to File. Name the file and select the destination you want to save the file. You will see a little progress bar at the top left-hand side. Repeat this with the other images. It only takes a few seconds per image. Going to the destination you chose, we can see the files you have created. The white area of the file is the border or spare paper on the print. These files are then ready to upload to SimLabs. You can of course create other templates for other sizes of paper. You can see on the Sim Imaging price list there are various sizes of prints. Creating a template for a square print rather than the A3 is slightly cheaper, which will save a little bit of money. Here we see a print 305mm by 305mm with a cell size of 280mm by 280mm. I tend to create a set number of mount sizes and find the one that best fits the photo. You could of course create a custom mount size for a specific photo as required. When ordering the prints from SimLabs, you must order borderless as you have created your own border. Ordering a print with a border, SimLabs will add 5mm all round. They do this by reducing the size of the image and will result in the image being smaller than the cell size you set on the template. I hope you find this video helpful.